welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really locked in on two big Champions League special matches.
That's right. We've got Cardiff City taking on West Brom.
And Oxford United versus Sunderland AFC.
Yep.
And look, we're not just scratching the surface with simple win-loss predictions here.
No, definitely not. We're digging deep into the SmartBet AI analysis. It's crunched a ton of data.
Right. Our goal really is to get under the hood, understand what's actually driving these forecasts. We're talking statistical models, ELO ratings.
Team form, injuries, even the weather on the day. It all goes in. We've run thousands of Monte Carlo simulations, too.
Thousands. Wow.
Yeah, like virtual replays, basically.
Okay, so the mission today is to give you, our listeners, a real insight. Go beyond just who might win and understand the why.
Exactly. What factors are really at play gives you a sharper way to look at these matches.
Perfect. So let's jump right into that first game. Cardiff City versus West Brom. What are the simulations telling us?
Okay, so the Monte Carlo runs point towards West Brom. They've got a 49.47% chance of winning, according to the AI.
Almost 50%. And Cardiff?
Cardiff's win probability is lower at 33.64%, and the draw comes in at 16.89%.
So yeah, the AI clearly favors West Brom. That kind of tracks with general feeling, maybe. And the ELO ratings back that up.
They certainly do. West Brom are sitting at 1537. Cardiff's ELO is 1453.
That's, what, an 84-point difference? That sounds pretty significant.
It is, yeah. For anyone maybe not familiar, ELO is all about measuring relative strength based on past results. And historically, a gap like that often translates to roughly a 60% win chance for the higher team, all else being equal.
And speaking of things not being equal, injuries. Cardiff have some issues there, don't they?
They do. Key players out. El Ghazi and, crucially, Joe Rowles are sidelined.
Rowles, that's a big miss in midfield, right? Linking play.
Huge miss. He's vital for connecting their defense and attack. His final third passing accuracy is usually way up there, around 88%, much higher than their other midfielders. Our data suggests losing him could cut their clear scoring chances by, 15%?
15%. Wow. So how does a team like West Brom, known for being pretty well drilled, potentially exploit that?
Well, you'd expect West Brom to be patient, structured. They're not always about dominating the ball, but they're solid defensively.
That's right.
So knowing Cardiff might be a bit disjointed in midfield without Rowles, they'll likely soak up pressure and then look to hit quickly on the counter, target that space Rowles usually controls. Catch Cardiff, maybe overcommitting.
Okay, makes sense. Now, let's talk about the wild card, the weather. Sounds like it could really throw a wrench in the works.
Oh, absolutely. The forecast is messy. A 65% chance of rain, strong wind gusts, maybe up to 13 miles per hour, heavy clouds.
So what does that actually do to the game?
Well, think about it. A slick pitch makes set pieces way more unpredictable. Long balls get caught in the wind, and defensive errors, they just shoot up, mistimed tackles, poor clearances.
Yeah.
It happens.
So potential for chaos then. Could level things out a bit.
Precisely. That randomness can really negate some technical skill advantages. That perfect through ball, much harder on a soggy pitch. A gust of wind can ruin a great pass.
Right. Okay, so pulling all this together, the AI lean, the injuries, the weather, what betting angles look interesting here?
Well, both teams to score. BTTS could be worth a look. West Brom are generally solid at the back, but they can be vulnerable when teams really press them high. And Cardiff, even without Rowles, they do tend to convert chances when they get them. Their conversion rate is, let's say, generous.
The AI predicted the specific scoreline most often, didn't it?
It did. The most frequent outcome in the simulations was 2-1 to West Brom.
Okay.
But, and this is a big but, especially with the weather, there was quite a bit of variance. Scores like 2-2, even 2-3 popped up pretty often. More than usual.
Suggests it could swing either way.
Right.
What about live betting? Any thoughts for the first few minutes?
Yeah, watch the first 15 closely. If Cardiff come out flying, really energetic, trying to make up for the absences, maybe there's early value on the draw or BTTS.
But if they look sluggish?
Then yeah, if they're struggling in midfield, maybe West Brom -1 handicap starts to look appealing as the game wears on.
And corners, you mentioned that earlier.
Could be. Wet pitch means more deflected balls going out. Plus, if Cardiff bypass the middle and go wide more often, you'd expect more crosses, potentially more corners.
So the bottom line expectation for this one is?
Goals, probably. Mistakes, definitely, given the conditions. And yeah, just that general unpredictability you get with rainy day football.
Okay. Now we're going to shift gears for a moment. Take a brief but really important detour away from the pitch.
Yes. We want to talk about an incredible act of bravery. Specialist 4, Keith Allen Campbell, a combat medic in Vietnam.
His story is incredibly powerful. Can you tell us a bit about his actions?
Specialist Campbell repeatedly risked his own life, went into heavy gunfire again and again to treat wounded soldiers. During one of these acts of rescue, tragically, he was killed. He was awarded the Bronze Star for his valor.
An incredible sacrifice. And there's an ongoing effort to get him even higher recognition.
That's right. A campaign backed strongly by his family. His sister lives in Delaware. Veterans groups, advocates, they all firmly believe his actions merit the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award.
And for our listeners, particularly those in certain areas, there's a way they can help support this.
Yes. If you live in Delaware or Virginia, please consider contacting your U.S. senators. That's Lisa Blunt Rochester in Delaware and Mark Warner in Virginia.
What should they say?
Just reach out to their offices. Express your support for upgrading Specialist Campbell's Bronze Star to the Medal of Honor. Let them know you believe his courage deserves that recognition.
We'll make sure getting that contact info is easy for you.
Definitely. We'll put all the links and details on the show's website and social media pages.
It's a really important cause. A reminder of the real meaning of sacrifice.
Absolutely. It's vital we honor Specialist Campbell's legacy. His selflessness goes far beyond any sports statistic. A true hero.
Indeed. Okay, let's transition back to strategy and how these predictions are actually made. We need to talk about some core ideas. Game theory, and this concept called the gambler's ruin.
Right. Understanding these helps make sense of how SmartBet AI works. The gambler's ruin is... Well, it's pretty fundamental.
Let's explain it simply.
Okay, imagine a game. Perfect 50-50 odds, like flipping a coin. Even then, if you just keep betting the same amount over and over, eventually a bad run of luck will wipe you out. That's ruin.
And football betting isn't 50-50. Far from it.
Right.
And most people don't have a real statistical edge, do they?
Exactly. That's why making consistent money betting on football is so damn hard for most people. It's where the AI comes in. We're not just picking winners.
Right.
We're analyzing everything. Expected goals, XG, the quality of chances.
Yeah, shot location, type of shot.
ELO ratings, injuries, weather, form, even how the betting markets are moving. Then we run those thousands of simulations we mentioned. It's all about estimating the true probabilities.
And how does game theory fit in? Is it like chess?
Sort of. We treat each bet like a strategic move in a game. It's not about passion or your favorite team. It's cold, calculated, based on probability, identifying value, like a good poker player, assessing the odds, reading the situation.
Makes sense. And you use different AI models, not just one.
Correct. We use a few different types, each with its own strengths. There's the Poisson model that's great for predicting the number of goals.
Okay.
Then XGBoost. It's really good at classification, finding patterns in messy data like team form, momentum. It's a workhorse.
And neural nets.
Neural networks are amazing at spotting really subtle, nonlinear stuff, things a human might miss, like picking up tiny cues that often happen before a goal, just from analyzing tons of data.
So when the AI spits out, say, 2-1 West Brom, with 49.47% confidence. What is that percentage?
That number comes directly from those simulations. It's how often that 2-1 scoreline appeared across all those thousands of virtual games based on all the data crunched, aiming for the best risk-adjusted return.
Got it. But even with all this AI power, managing your money, your bankroll, that's still crucial, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely critical. Non-negotiable, really. Our golden rule. Never bet more than 2% of your total bankroll on a single wager.
Just 2%.
Maximum 2%. Look, even the best models aren't perfect. Variance happens. Sticking to that rule protects you from those losing streaks. It helps you avoid the gambler's ruin.
You mentioned poker again. It's about playing the long game.
Exactly. Top poker players don't win every hand. They make consistently good decisions based on probability and information over time. Betting's the same. You won't win every bet.
Right.
But disciplined, data-driven strategy improves your chances of long-term profit. It's about being a strategist, not just a gambler chasing wins or losses. Avoid the emotional bets.
Very clear. Okay, let's apply this thinking to the second match. Oxford United hosting Sunderland AFC. What's the AI verdict here?
This one looks a bit more clear-cut according to the simulations. Sunderland are pretty strong favorites. The AI gives them a 62.82% chance of winning.
Over 60%, that's high. And Oxford.
Oxford's win probability is much lower, down at 21.7%. The draw is around 15.48%.
Again, that feels like a big gap. Do the ELO ratings reflect that too?
They do, significantly. Sunderland's ELO is 176.89. Oxford's is 477.27. That's almost a 100-point difference.
Wow. That really paints a picture of perceived quality difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like I don't know, a Formula One car versus a reliable family sedan, maybe, in terms of historical performance potential.
Okay, but just like the Cardiff game, there's a weather factor here too. And it sounds even worse.
Oh, much worse. The forecast for Oxford is grim if you like slick football. An 83% chance of rain. Persistent drizzle expected pretty much the whole match.
83%, so definitely a soggy pitch.
Okay.
And that could be the great equalizer again. Help Oxford.
It absolutely could. A waterlogged pitch levels the playing field. Yes, it slows the ball down, which might hinder Sunderland's usually slick passing.
Especially playing out from the back.
Exactly. But it also massively increases the chance of simple mistakes. Slips, miscontrols, bad passes. Things just go wrong more often in those conditions.
So Oxford might look to just make it a scrap. Physical, direct.
That's the likely play, yeah. Emphasize physicality, go direct, get the ball forward quickly, long balls, crosses into the box. Try to create chaos near Sunderland's goal. Make it messy.
And Sunderland, how do they try and impose their quality in that kind of environment?
They'll still try to control the game, probably through key players like Gibbs-White, use intelligent movement, try to dictate the tempo as much as possible despite the pitch. It'll be tough, though.
So betting angles for this one. Given the AI leaning towards Sunderland, but the heavy rain factor.
Well, the AI's most common score was 2-1 Sunderland. But like the other game, there was significant variance. We saw 2-3, 1-3, even 2-2 show up a fair bit in the simulations.
So just the goals again.
It does. And with the conditions making errors likely, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals again seem like interesting possibilities.
Anything else stand out? Maybe first half betting.
Yeah, possibly. Sunderland do tend to start games quite strongly, so maybe look at first half Sunderland goals. Oxford at home might dig in defensively early on, potentially making them harder to break down later.
And a safer option, given the rain.
Draw no bet on Sunderland is always a more cautious approach when there's so much uncertainty from the weather. Covers you if it ends level.
Corners again, presumably.
Yeah.
Wet pitch, Oxford going direct.
Yes, definitely worth considering the corner markets. Wet conditions, likely more crosses from Oxford, could lead to a higher count.
And for live betting here, what's the key thing to watch early?
Watch how Sunderland cope with that pitch in the first 10-15 minutes. If they're moving the ball okay, seem comfortable despite the rain, maybe you feel better about backing them.
But if they're really struggling, slipping, misplacing passes,
then you might want to hedge, or even look at something like draw no bet on Oxford. Adapt based on what you're seeing.
So boiling it down, Sunderland are better on paper, clearly.
Undeniably.
But Oxford have the home crowd, the rain is an equalizer, and maybe a nothing-to-lose attitude. Could be unpredictable.
Absolutely. That combination definitely introduces the potential for an upset or at least a closer game than the raw numbers might suggest.
Right. Before we wrap up, let's quickly peek behind the curtain at the AI models themselves. How do they stack up in generating these predictions?
Sure. It's always interesting to see which parts of the brain were working best. Looking at overall accuracy across these simulations, the MLP neural network came out slightly on top, 58% accuracy.
MLP, what's its specialty?
It's really good at finding those complex, non-linear relationships in the data, kind of like our creative midfielder, seeing patterns others miss.
Okay, and second best?
XGBoost. Very close behind at 57%. It's a powerhouse for dealing with messy, imbalanced data, great on things like form, momentum, our box-to-box workhorse.
And the random forest models.
Solid, consistent, came in at 53%. Maybe a bit more conservative. Think of it as the disciplined back four, reliable.
So why use all three? Why not just use the MLP if it was most accurate this time?
That's the beauty of ensemble learning. Blending them smooths things out, reduces variance, makes the predictions more stable overall.
Like a balanced team, not just relying on one star player.
Exactly. It's a predictive brain trust. Each model brings a different strength. And actually, when the models disagree, that's often really informative. It highlights uncertainty and tells us where to dig even deeper.
So it comes back to that core idea.
Yep. AI plus context plus discipline. That's the formula for insightful analysis.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the key takeaways for you today. We've seen how the weather looks like a massive factor in the Cardiff versus West Brom game. Could really stir things up.
And for Oxford against Sunderland, those same soggy conditions might just level the playing field somewhat, despite Sunderland's clear quality edge on paper.
We also step aside to remember a true hero, Specialist 4, Keith Allen Campbell, which is incredibly important.
Absolutely. And we explored some of the mechanics behind the predictions, game theory, gambler's ruin, how the different AI models work together.
Our aim, as always, is to give you a smarter, sharper perspective. Not just what might happen, But why?
Hopefully, this deep dive has given you some real food for thought on these games and the analysis behind them.
We'd definitely love to hear what you think, share your predictions, get involved in the conversation, and make sure you join us next time for another deep dive into the data.